I never thought a single piece of paper could destroy the life I had built, or at least thought I had built. It started with $20. 20 measly dollars. My billionaire wife, Catherine, had left me a note on the kitchen counter. For coffee, don't spend it all. I stared at it for a long time. The small bill crumpled beneath her elegant, looping handwriting. I remember laughing first. A hollow, bitter laugh. After 10 years of marriage, multiple homes, luxury cars, and trips I could barely remember, she was leaving me $20. That was her goodbye. Not a mansion. Not the car she loved more than me. Not the bank accounts I had only glimpsed once or twice. Just $20. I had always thought we were partners. We had started small. Just the two of us, dreaming in the cramped apartment she had inherited from her parents. But somewhere along the way, money had changed her. Money had changed us. I sat down at the kitchen table, staring at the note and the $20 bill, trying to make sense of it. That's when my phone rang. It was the bank. I almost didn't answer. My heart was pounding, a strange mix of hope and dread. "Mr. Hayes," the banker said, "I'm calling about your wife's accounts. There's been a discrepancy." I froze. "A discrepancy?" "Yes," the woman said. "We need you to come in. Immediately. It's urgent." I didn't understand. I barely understood anything about Catherine's finances. She handled everything. The investments, the donations, the purchases I didn't question. And now, as I sat there with a crumpled $20 bill, it seemed the universe had finally decided to make me see her for who she really was. By the time I reached the bank, my hands were shaking. My mind raced. Was she bankrupt? Had she taken something from me? Or worse? The banker looked uneasy when I walked in. "Please, Mr. Hayes, come with me." We entered a small conference room, the kind you only ever see in movies, all beige walls and fluorescent lights. She was there, my wife, but she wasn't smiling, and she wasn't the woman I had thought I knew. She looked different, controlled, cold. "Catherine?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She nodded. "I thought it would be better if you heard this from the bank directly." The banker cleared his throat. "There appears to be a massive unauthorized withdrawal from Mrs. Hayes' account, as well as transfers to several offshore accounts in your name. However, these were never authorized by you." I blinked. My stomach twisted. "Wait, what?" "She left instructions," the banker continued. "She left everything, her assets, her properties, the investments, to someone else entirely, except for this $20. My throat tightened. I felt my chest collapsing. "You mean she left me nothing?" Catherine looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of satisfaction, or maybe indifference. "I told you," she said softly. "I didn't want you to spend my money. I wanted you to earn your own, and I wanted you to feel what it's like to be left behind." I laughed again, but it wasn't the same hollow laugh from the kitchen. This one was sharper, angrier, laced with disbelief. You mean all those years, everything we built, none of it meant anything?" "It meant everything to me," she said, voice calm. "But it was never yours." I left the bank in a daze, gripping that $20 bill as if it were a lifeline. The city streets felt different, colder somehow. I walked past our penthouse, our cars, the restaurants we used to frequent. Everything looked the same, but I didn't belong in it anymore. At home, I opened the small box she had left. There was nothing inside except a few personal items, letters she had written over the years, and a photograph of us from when we were happy, or at least when I thought we were. I remember sitting there for hours, staring at it, replaying every conversation, every smile, every touch. When did she stop being my partner? When did love become a ledger? The first night alone was the worst. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't stop thinking about the betrayal. And then it hit me. The bank hadn't called for nothing. There was something more. Something I wasn't seeing. Over the next few weeks, I started digging. Slowly, quietly, carefully. I combed through every account, every transaction, every email. I had always trusted her implicitly, but now I couldn't trust anything. And that's when I found it. A series of transfers, disguised masked by charities and shell companies. And then buried deep in the fine print of one of her investment portfolios, a note for him when the time is right. I stared at it for hours. My hands shook. Catherine had left me a trail, a test, maybe, or a message. And then I realized I had the power to respond, not with anger, not with despair, but with something she hadn't expected, resilience. I started rebuilding my life, piece by piece. I took small jobs, consulting work that reminded me of my skills, my intelligence, my worth. I rented a small apartment, drove an old car, and slowly, painfully, learned to survive without her. But I didn't forget. Every step I took, I remembered that $20 bill. Every cup of coffee I bought, I thought of her laugh, that cold, calculated smile, that message hidden in her wealth. And slowly, it turned from anger into focus, from betrayal into strategy. I started contacting the bankers, the lawyers, the people she had trusted. I asked questions, probed, pressed. And one day, finally, I discovered the loophole she had overlooked, the one small account in her name that required joint authorization. I had the signatures, the dates, the passwords, everything. I didn't take it all. I took enough to start over, to reclaim a fraction of what was mine. Not because I wanted revenge in a petty sense, but because I deserved it. I deserved to have my dignity back. When I finally confronted her, months later, she didn't expect me to be there. She hadn't anticipated that I would find the key, that I would rebuild, that I would come back stronger, quieter, sharper. "I see you found it," she said, her voice cool, practiced. "I did," I said, simply, holding a folder of documents. "And I don't need your money to live. I need it to remind me that I can survive without you." She didn't answer. There was no apology, no explanation, no warmth. Just that same calm indifference that had haunted me for months. And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't need her to recognize me. I didn't need her validation. I only needed to know that I had reclaimed my life. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't dramatic. It was just me, sitting at my kitchen table, drinking my coffee, $20 bill crumpled beside me, finally free from the shadow of someone who pretended to love me but had only love, control, power, and money. I still think about her sometimes. I wonder if she even remembers the man I was, the man she left behind. But the truth is, it doesn't matter. I am not that man anymore. I am not defined by her betrayal, by her fortune, or by the life she tried to erase from me. I am defined by my own choices, my own resilience, my own heart. And for the first time in a long time, I feel light. That $20 bill, I still keep it. Not as a token of her cruelty, but as a reminder that even in the smallest, most humiliating of ways, life has a way of pushing you forward, and that sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't about money or status. It's about reclaiming yourself. I am not bitter anymore. I am not broken. I am awake. And that, more than anything, is worth more than all the billions she tried to hoard.